Samsung, proud sponsor of Tech Busters.
What would movies be without popcorn and Coke? What would movies be without the projector? We're at Ster-Kinekor to take a look behind the scenes at their new digital projector technology, the kind of funky stuff that happens up in the camera booth that those of us sitting in the cinema never see. Let's go take a look at what the current range of technology looks like.
The phrase cinema is dead has been around almost as long as cinema itself, but it's not quite true. As Toby found out, cinema's not dead, it's just changing. As the rest of the world has been plunged into the digital revolution, Ster-Kinekor will not be left behind. By the end of this year, they've pledged to have all of their cinemas kitted out with the latest in digital projection technology.
Digital obviously is cheaper, it's more efficient, it produces an economy of scale, and you don't have all of those rolls of films and other things that cost a fortune to print.
Absolutely. Digital brings us a lot more clarity, brings us the opportunity to enhance our sound and introduce digital sound, and it introduces the whole operational efficiency around it. Having said that, there is a capital cost and an outlay that needs to be rolled out, and in terms of the model that is put it in, the savings and the costs are kind of for different players, so we found a way to amalgamate those opportunities, and a combination of studio support as well as exhibitor support. We're rolling this out. The cost of this rollout is around 200 million. We're not just converting the projectors, we're also enhancing the sound experience.
You were saying it's a bit like the 3D revolution for visual sound has gotten so much better.
Absolutely. Our strategy is great moments at their greatest, and from a projection perspective or a picture perspective, the term we use is immersive. So how do we create an immersive environment for you? And sound plays a critical role in that.
The migration involves the decommissioning of the old 35mm projectors and replacing them with either 2K or 4K digital ones. These support frame rates of anything between the standard 24 per second to the latest 60 frame per second content.
It is more like a computer than a 35mm projector. This is basically the digital portion or the head of a projector. In the old days there was a big 35mm here with everything running like this. So you've got your projector, and then basically on the inside you've got a NAS device. Now the big advantage to this over 35mm is that the films come on a hard drive. So it's not a 35mm that gets scratched.
Gets scratched.
Exactly.
Fire.
Exactly.
And then the interface is something much more simpler like that. I mean, you can,
Yeah, it's very intuitive actually. You can just click, I don't want to click now because they're showing a movie, but you can say that 2D scope, 3D scope, 2D flat, 3D flat. You can actually hook up a PS3 if you really want to.
How do you counter this kind of very prevalent worldwide trend of downloads? You know, people are stealing content. How do you get them away from that back into the cinema?
What we know from our research is that as long as you're watching movies, you watch some of the movies in the cinema theater. So we're not going to fight the consumer's preference of where he wants to watch it. But our job is to say the best place to watch it is at Ster-Kinekor and on the big screen. And if you come and have an experience here, we're quite convinced that you will choose cinema again. And that's really our job. In terms of the downloads, of course it's illegal unless you're buying it off a legitimate. If you're not paying for it, it's illegal. It's not very difficult to work out. And fortunately for us, working with governments, working with various lawmakers, the laws are changing. The internet is still a new space in some respects when it comes to, let's call it retail, and the laws will catch up with that.
Well, that's not bad projection, I must say, but it has its advantages and has its disadvantages. It's glorious and glamorous and big screen, but there's no pause button when you want to go to the toilet. As they say in the movies, that's a wrap.